Right. Now, when we look at the impact, and you're saying about, will we get justice? We are getting justice. We are seeing this cohesion, this collusion that we have never seen before. We are seeing two communities which never, back then, as they say in England, never the twain shall meet. The criminal classes, and again, I'm not in any way denigrating victims and survivors, and I'm not. And I would never do that, and those that know me, they know that I'm not like that, but I'm here to give them the voice. They've got their own voice, but I will give them a platform, and I'll do anything I can to expose this, and that's what I'm about. We're seeing us working together, and it's coming out. And when we see the damage that this does to society, the damage it does to the person, it is at the root of alcoholism, it is at the root of class A drug addiction, it is at the root of single parenting and dysfunctionality. When we're seeing how, poverty that it causes, and then we're seeing that those that make money from it, the system, the children are just a cash cow from cradle to grave. They will make money. To start with, they'll make money for the family courts because of the dysfunctionality of the family. The children will get in trouble. They will make money for the juvenile courts. The children grow up. Nothing is put right. Nothing is addressed in the right manner. So the magistrates court, the lower courts that we have, will make money, and then it will lead to what we call the crown courts, the jury courts, and ultimately it will lead to the coroner's courts, sadly enough, And when we're seeing barristers charging £400 per hour, we're seeing trials at £8,000 a day, the money that they're ploughing into this, and are they solving it? No, they're not. They're chasing the tail. You've got to deal with the root cause. And then when we see about paedophilia, who is being put in charge of dealing with it? The police officers, we have seen our police service over 2 decades eroded to the bare skeletons. We are seeing seasoned, hardened detectives that have a tradecraft in investigating this very, very difficult area, gone and not replaced. We're seeing the police failing to put resources into looking into this. We are seeing chief constables and commissioners of police deliberately covering this up, and that has been exposed in government inquiries, ongoing government inquiries, of which I'm one of the witnesses on. We have seen military intelligence hierarchy deliberately allowing this to go on, and having people like Sir Peter Heyman in charge of MI6, the James Bond type people, the spies and all that are just sort of personified as being sort of like this bastion of decency throughout the world, that are deliberately covering it up and involved in it. And there is no impetus in putting it right, but we're getting together, and we are getting together, and we are actually slowly saying no more, we're not having this, and they can get away with it for so long, and they've got away with it in this country for so long. You just got to look at Jimmy Savile, really, to see what's going on.
And they protected him to the death.
Of course they did.
Yeah.
Of course they did. But what Trump is doing, now I'm not going down the political road, because do you know what? Red or white, left or right, they're all shite.
They're gangsters.
They're
all
gangsters. There are good politicians, but what can they do? They are living in this rat's nest that won't allow them to do the right thing, and that are phenomenal politicians, and I've met them.
Do you think, I can't remember the exact, I don't know if it was a Greek god, but I think it was Medusa, where you chop off the head and 2 grow back?
Yeah, Hydra,
yeah. Do you think this thing can be defeated, or do you think it's a Hydra?
Yeah, well, funny enough, the police had an operation called Operation Hydra. It's weird how they use these things. Well, we can't give up.
Mm-hmm.
What more can we do? We've just got to keep going. We've got to keep going, and platforms, like this that Pepsi's affording us are just invaluable. And the messages I get of hope, just saying, John, thank God you're doing this. Please carry on. Don't give up.
Mm-hmm.
It's heartwarming,
Yeah.
We need you. Not just me. I am not you know, the one that's saying I'm holding the torch for this because I'm one of many. But slowly they are listening to us. They've afforded myself and another police whistleblower a very prominent position in the government inquiry, speaking out. That will be live streamed, so I will have my say, and I no doubt she will have her say. And we do this because we don't want the victims being heard, and the victims are going out there and they are echoing what we're saying. They are supporting us and they are coming forward. I go into drug rehab centres and give talks. I give talks to offenders, and I'm always well received, always.
Do you believe in spirits, John?
Yeah. I believe in Jesus. Not in religious connotations. I was brought up a Catholic. I want to make this clear. I was brought up a Catholic. I've openly denounced my affiliation to the Catholic faith because I held the head of the Catholic Church in the UK to task, and it was quite clear they're going to do absolutely F all about this. They've got no interest in doing this. However, Jesus says, you harm a hair on a child's head, you will put a millstone around your neck and you will throw yourself in the lake rather than I get to you. So Jesus was here to protect the children, right? And I'm not here to convert people to Christianity, that's not my job. But I'm doing what I'm saying. Those that hurt children, whether it is for personal reasons or whether they're caught up in some sort of satanic cult or whatever, I don't care. Right, there are those, and it's clear and it's well established that there are those, and there are documentary evidence, and there have been Crown Court convictions. There's been numerous ones where people have been convicted for satanic ritual abuse. There is a list called the Rains List, RAINS. If you type in Rains List, satanic abuse, you will get it. On the internet, and there are politicians involved. Ted Heath's in there. There's been senior coppers involved. So it goes. Whether they are involved in that organised thing or just child abuse per se, it's evil and it's wrong.
It makes me think of I love Star Wars. And in episode 3, there's the climax is when Yoda's fighting the Chancellor, and the Chancellor is literally throwing the Senate at him, where the senators stand. He's like chucking the Senate, and it's so allegorical and metaphorical, and it makes me think of that. More than anything I've ever thought of, other than World War II, but this is it's going on right now.
It's a battle for our souls.
Yeah.
It is a battle for souls. And you know what? There's no fence you sit on here. You don't sit on any fence here. You're either with us.
Yeah, you gotta pick a side.
You have to. 100% got to pick a side, because this is a battle for our souls, and these people do this because they want to do it. They want to do it. But do you know what we've got to do? We've got to go back to old values. We've got to protect our children. And we've got a strong family network. Now I was a single parent and I did everything I could to protect my children. But, unfortunately it was a situation that was pushed on us. We didn't manufacture this thing. But deliberately having children all over the place just makes your family weak. And these kids get preyed on, and they do get preyed on.
1 minute, boys.
So it all starts at home. And we all have to take personal responsibility for this. And you know what? Every child out there is our child. Do not turn your back. How can these people go home knowing it goes on and say, oh, it's them kids from that housing estate, that project or whatever, it's them, it's not our problem. No, it is your problem. And we have a personal responsibility to them as well. And if we walk away, they get hurt. We can't walk away. And we have to hold these politicians personally accountable. And you know what? And I'm going to address your audience here, Addy, because I know you've got a big audience, and I'm going to address them. And I've done it to the UK, but I'm going to do this to the States here. And I'm going to say this to you. We have been given a gift. And this gift is Epstein and Prince Andrew. This is a ball we cannot afford to drop. What they've been involved in, right, is evil, and it is massive. But and it is about standing up and speaking out, and we are seeing that, like I mentioned, like never ever before. And I'm really, really optimistic. And what I will say to people is this: is that as much as the national media are trying to take governance of this and take ownership of this so they can control this narrative, it started in the UK with Jimmy Savile. The BBC and the British establishment were shown to have covered this up and allowed this to go on. There were police units that deliberately ignored it, and the victims, that were deliberately denigrated, and we are seeing this denigration everywhere. How many suicides have gone on now, how much pain and suffering has been caused because of all this, and it's a matter of see who the real bastards are here. And it's not us speaking out. We are not the wrong ones here. We are not the evil ones. The evil ones are those that are controlling this narrative, and they are putting it down in addition to those committing it, And that's one thing we've got to look at, that those that do cover this up and do attack those speaking out, they're just as bad.
Yeah.
They are just as bad. And I will say to people out there, you are not alone. Come forward, speak out. And do you know what? If the police do nothing, then complain. Complain, put a complaint in, and if they do nothing, then you take it hard. We've got ombudsman now. Now, okay, it might not do something, but do not give up. And if the system is collapsing and being flooded with it, good, good. Then chuck some resources at it, and then go to the press. Or if they don't do anything, do what Pepsi's doing. Get your iPhones out and shove it on there.
Yeah. Anybody can. I mean, everyone has an iPhone now, or an Android.
Yeah, and speak out. Be careful with liable laws. Be careful of that. And what we've got to look at is, the establishment are obviously frightened, because I'll tell you for why. They're serving the media what's called a D notice. Now let me explain what a D notice is. You mentioned this prior to this interview about a gagging order, which is probably what our American viewers will assimilate with. In England, they serve them a D notice. Now, a lot of people have got no idea what a D notice is. Well, a D notice, a D stands for defence notice. It is a military intelligence gagging order, and it's an agreement between the military intelligence and the media for purposes of state security, right? National security. So why the hell are they giving media agencies D notices over child abuse? Because it involves politicians, and because it involves people like Epstein, and because it involves people like Prince Andrew, and there's people going on about, did Epstein kill himself? Is Epstein living in Israel? Is Epstein living in another island? Do you know what? Who cares? Who absolutely gives a shit where he is or what he's doing? The fact of the matter is, it's out there. It's out there. They can't drag this back. Prince Andrew did his damnedest, and the arrogance of this fool to do this interview, which anyone with half a sense of tenacity will realise how fake was that,
How stupid can you get?
Well, this goes to show they think we're idiots.
Yeah.
And it was his daughter apparently put him up to it. They think we're stupid. I mean, and if anyone believes what he's saying, my God, you don't deserve to have a brain, because you're obviously owning control of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you do, you're better off bowing down to those people, which is, what they expect, right? As monarchs or whatever.
Well, the thing is, Addy, how does change come about? Change comes about by people standing up against the flow, and there is pain that comes because, change will bring about a lot of difficulty. You only see it with people when you grow up. You go through change in adolescence, and it's a painful time because you are morphing from one state to another, and we are now morphing into a state of clarity. And we are seeing the, and do you know the bizarre thing? What's year next year? 2020, right? 2020 vision, clarity, time of clarity, and I think that's what's going to happen.
Because like the last 3-4 weeks, 5 weeks, I've been getting more into this stuff and learning more about it, doing my own research, and with that comes a lot of emotional processing. Do you find yourself getting worn down by this stuff?
Yeah,
do you have to take breaks or?
Terribly. It's all consuming.
Yeah.
It's it
makes you feel alone sometimes, doesn't it?
It does. It's a tough journey. It's a nasty journey. There's a lot of people who want bad for me because of what I'm doing. There's a lot of hatred. There's been a lot of hatred from certain groups. I've got links to Satanism, and I know that. I no doubt that I've been the subject of some sort of dark mass somewhere, and your personal life suffers. There's been some terrible things that have happened to me on a personal level, which I could probably attribute to this. There are attempts to undermine you. It's very intelligent how it works, but there's a thing when you have a calling, you have a calling. I wouldn't want my children hurt, and I wouldn't want anyone else's children hurt. you know. And someone said to me, "Are you frightened?" Yeah, I have been frightened. I've been petrified. I don't know what the future holds. The police have done a lot to me. I no doubt there might be something else around the corner. I don't know. A politician stood up in Parliament in front of the Home Secretary's office. The Home Secretary is the one down from the Prime Minister who sort of has governance for the policing and all that sort of stuff, and turned around and openly declared that had he not helped me, that he actually thought I would have been killed. And he openly stated this, and he was actually
10 minutes.
He was actually removed from post after doing that. So removed from his post as Police and Crime Minister. So it's dark and it's dangerous, and it is. It's a tough game, and it is, and it doesn't help when you get. And I don't want to dwell on it, but brain damaged trolls that attack, and I know that so many of us have sort of been victims to that. But really, you just got to adapt and overcome. But how do victims and survivors carry on? And they do.
Yeah.
You know, there are some that do succumb to suicide. Suicide's an awful statistic with links to child abuse, and it is. But we've got to be awake to this, and we've got to see the reality of this, because there's a song by the Manic Street Preachers, and a line on it goes, "If we tolerate this, then our children will be next." And that's so true. We tolerate this, what are we going to allow to happen? And we can't allow this. You destroy children, you destroy society. And now we have an awakening. The education that people have got about the reality of this. Years ago, people would have never entertained this, never would have entertained this. They would have never entertained that Jimmy Savile was a paedophile, necrophiliac, rapist, whatever he was. You know, Ted Heath, the Prime Minister, Leon Britton, the Home Secretary, Peter Heyman, head of MI6, were paedophiles. They were, and they are, and that's a matter of record, you know. And we can speak about it. These people are dead. Who else is in there? We have seen in British Parliament so many, like I mentioned earlier, political advisors that are involved in prime ministers that are involved in paedophilia. It's a matter of fact. It's a matter of record. So people are awake to this, and we've just got to keep pushing this home.
And have hope.
Yeah, and there is hope, because I don't think ever has there been more hope. Never have we seen such a cohesion of survivor groups getting together, and they are getting together. We are seeing prosecutions. We are seeing local authorities, local government in the UK that have been found culpable of deliberately running children's home, where one of them had 19 paedophiles working in it. We have seen the biggest one, and again, let's aim this at America, and I'll tell you for why. Look at the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Look at Southern Ireland, where the Catholic Church had total autonomy, you know, total control, and look at what they've been exposed for doing.
Yeah.
You know, they've just found, I don't know how many babies were there, 376 babies were found in a cesspit of one of the Catholic run convents, you know, where the rape of the women was endemic. The children were then just murdered and chucked into a cesspit.